Hello, book bellas and fellas. Today I am going to be doing a tag called All I Want for Christmas book tag. I saw this on the Hardback Hoarders site. I believe she did this last year, and she makes a remark on how this tag is strangely sexualized, and after answering the questions I have to agree. Now, she's not the original creator. The original creator is 1,000 Lives of Daisy, and I'm going to leave both of the links to their pages down in the description. Without further ado, we are just going to go ahead and get into the 8 questions they have for us. By the way, I was not tagged in this. Nobody tagged me for this, but it seemed like a really fun tag for the spirit of the season, and so we're just going to go ahead and get into it. Question number 1. What fictional character do you want Santa to leave under your Christmas tree? You know, I'm indecisive. Like, you can't just pick one. Like, there's a lot of good guy characters out there. The first one, of course, is Rhysand from A Court of Mist and Fury, because he is amazing and I want to be his Feyre. The other one that I want underneath my Christmas tree is Michael from A Kiss Quotient. He was so considerate of everything for a leading lady, and I love the extra care that he took with her. It was so good. So yeah, I don't want to pick just one. If I'm going to get some people under my Christmas tree, you better believe that I'm going to make it count. Question number 2. What characters do you want to kiss under the mistletoe? Rhysand and Michael. What do you expect? You want me to just look at them under my tree? That's not how this works, ladies and gentlemen. Question number 3. You write your Christmas list for Santa. What are the 5 books that are on it? The first one was 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami. This has been a very popular book. It's not so much popular anymore, and it's a little bit more magical realism. I think I got some sci-fi vibes from it also. It's been a while since I read the description, but when I read the description, it sounded really interesting. I don't know if you guys are new to my channel or not, if you guys have watched my channel for a while, but I'm not a huge fan of reading synopses, mainly because I like to go in surprised. So what I'll do is I'll read the synopsis and then I won't read it again for quite a while. So I apologize. I probably should have before I started this video, but I don't want to spoil myself for whatever it is that I read in the future. The next book that I had on my list is Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant. Not very Christmassy book, but it's supposed to be a thriller about the deep sea and some very interesting creatures that live down there. I've heard so many good things about it, so I'm really hoping for that one also. Okay, and then number 3 is going to be the Ravenclaw edition of the Chamber of Secrets, which there are some UK editions. I have my Ravenclaw one right here. It's the one with the little black cover, and it's got the stripes for the houses all around sprayed edges. So they actually came out with a blue Ravenclaw edition, which I absolutely loved the look of, and it's going to go with the rest of them. They're releasing each one all in the houses, and what's, you know, one more set of Harry Potter books as it is, right? I mean, it's Harry Potter, so not even an issue. All right, and number 4, I have Elantris, of course, the leather-bound edition, which is still wishful thinking because that is a very expensive book, but it is gorgeous, and all the color prints and everything about it, the atmosphere of the book. It has, I don't know, like, I think like one of the reasons like why I'm so obsessed like with some of the leather-bound books is because I really like how it gives them like that vintage feel. So yeah, wishful thinking though, right? All right, and the last book I put on here was Eyes of the Dragon by Stephen King. That was actually the very first book that I ever read by Stephen King, and it's great. If you're looking to get into Stephen King, it gives you this kind of fantasy thriller style vibe to it. Basically, like, it's about this prince. I read The Eyes of the Dragon by Stephen King when I was in middle school, and I really loved it. It was my first taste of Stephen King, and I actually ended up falling in love with his writing after that. And it was pretty much the closest Stephen King probably will ever come to writing an actual fairy tale. But it had, like, you know, treachery, and there was a villain, fantasy style book where you have princes and it's in a castle and everything else. And it was just so great because it's definitely not something that you would expect to see by Stephen King, and it's definitely not one of his more known ones. Question number 4. It's Secret Santa at Hogwarts. What do you most want to receive? Hogwarts is very fantastical, so I kind of feel like the sky is the limit. Like I probably could have asked for anything could be put under my tree, maybe even a cloak of invisibility, which would have been kind of cool. But what do? I want a pet. More preferably, I want a niffler because they're cute. And I mean, who doesn't want to cuddle one of those little guys? I mean, oh my God, nifflers. And then, I mean, and if the babies happen to come as a package deal, then I will deal with that too, because I'll deal with every single one of them and I will love it because they're so cute. Question number 5. You spend the day with characters and movie adaptation actors from one fandom. What do you pick? Like this is a contest. Harry Potter, of course. Whether I'm spending the day with the actual actors, which would be freaking amazing because, you know, Emma Watson and Daniel Radcliffe and Rupert Guthrie. I mean, what a dream. But even if they ended up playing as Ron, Hermione, and Harry, that would still be a great day. Like, I mean, I don't think you could lose either way in that. Question number 6. What fictional animal would you like to replace Rudolph and be able to meet you on the roof? We're gonna go back into the theme of Harry Potter because it seems like a lot of Harry Potter answers the last few questions. So I would love a hippogriff on my roof because not only do they fly, but can you imagine having a set of hippogriffs pulling Santa's sleigh instead of reindeer? I'm there for it. I don't know about you guys, but I'm totally there for it. And if one of them happens to have either like a slight cold that causes his nose to grow, I'll take care of him. Hippogriffs. So cute. Question number 7. You invite 10 fictional characters to your New Year's Eve party. Who do you pick? So I had to think who would be good at a party, but I also had to think who could we also get there that probably wouldn't get the cops called on us because we've had too good of a time. We want it borderline, but we don't want to throw it over the edge. So I had to think about this. The first one that I picked for this is Magnus Bane from the Shadowhunters. He's very classy, very kind of eccentric, but he also seems like he probably could have a really good time because I remember in the Shadowhunters world, he was always throwing parties. He always had a very wide selection of people, and I kind of feel like he might even bring an entourage to a party, possibly, of people like that he wants to party with himself. So I really think that he might be a fun character to have at a party. Of course, number 2 is Cardan from The Cruel Prince. He is a fairy. He was kind of cruel, but he seems like also kind of mellow, so I think he might actually help to mellow out Magnus Bane a little bit, depending. So I kind of been intrigued to see like how that dynamic would work. Number 3, of course, is Rhysand, because if he's under my Christmas tree, he's not gonna not get invited to the party. I mean, I'm not rude, and I mean, you know, like I said, I'm not just gonna look at them. They're under my tree. All right. Also, number 4, I actually picked Stephen Leeds from the Legion trilogy. I actually just finished up that trilogy last month, and he has a kind of multiple personalities, but he materializes multiple personalities. He's really smart, so I think he'd be good conversation at the party. If nothing else, like his aspects that he calls them, like the people like that materialize around him that each know a certain trait, would probably help to keep the party going if anything got broken or I just wanted a good chat. Because I mean, I'm not super wild. Like I was kind of always like that person like at the party that would start thinking a lot and looking for really good conversation. I mean, I like a little bit of everything. Okay, the number 5 was Mbot from Skyward, because fictional character, robot, doesn't really matter. Very sarcastic, very good sense of humor, and just an overall interesting fictional personality. And so I kind of feel like he would be a really fun person also to have for the sake of conversation. Also, number 6 is Nightblood from Warbreaker, which is also another book by Brandon Sanderson. He's actually a sword with a personality, but he was super sarcastic and he was always bent on killing people. So I guess like, you know, like maybe it wouldn't be fitting unless like, you know, somebody showed up to the party that, you know, like caused trouble. But, you know, you never really know. So I kind of feel like Nightblood would be awesome to have there as well. I mean, and given the fact like that we're talking about fictional characters, if I had a chance to meet any of these people, definitely one of them would be Nightblood because he's just a fun sword. All right, number 7 is Elise from This Song Will Save Your Life, because she's a DJ. And, you know, you have to have music at the party. And so I figured that she would be a really good person to get to boogie down with to some rich beats. sounds super beatnik just then. All right, and then I also would like to have, and this is number 8, Professor Andrew Martin from The Humans. Once again, more conversation. I like to be surrounded by a lot of intellectual people, and being the fact that he is just now experiencing everything that it is to be human, it would be a really interesting dynamic, especially between him and Stephen Leeds. I can't imagine like a conversation between him, considering the fact that Professor Andrew Martin was originally a human and then started masquerading as a human, but was actually an alien, and the alien came to Earth to observe life. So I think that would be probably like not only a great incentive to get him out of the house because he's observing a party, but it would also be really awesome to see him there and being able to mingle with him, because he was just very deep and insightful in the book. All right, number 9 is Mia Corvier from Nevernight. Because while she doesn't really seem like the partying type, she definitely seems like the kind of girl like that you want around just in case there's trouble. And can you imagine Mira Corvier with Nightblood? I mean, what a mashup. Like, that would be awesome. And would he be rational for her, or would she be rational for him? So many things. All right, and the last person that I would have there, of course, is Albus Dumbledore, because, of course, you know, like he was intellectual, so he'd be definitely like in line with that. But he's also got a flair for decorating. I mean, did you always see Hogwarts house? He always like had the stars up. I mean, think about scenic and think about, you know, like having all of those floating candles. I mean, he would be the perfect person to decorate everything in the area that we were having the party in. And this is the last question. Question number 8. What character would make a good Santa? Doesn't have to be appearance, personality only. Actually, I picked Jupiter North from Nevermore because he has this magical element that I feel like Santa Claus would have, but he also was always very positive. He also had an air of mystery to him. He also seemed like he was in a good mood most of the time, and I feel like he would be the perfect person to play Santa Claus. All right, book bellas and fellas, thank you guys so much for joining me. I am going to be tagging at least one person, maybe 2, depending on who I find to do the tag for this. Merry Christmas. I hope you guys liked the tag. I will leave the questions down there as well. And if you guys liked this video, hit the little like, hit subscribe, and hit the little bell icon if you want to receive emails each and every time I post. And as always, I will see you again very soon.